All right. And with that, we are recording. Hello,
Woo!
everybody. Yeah. Hello, everybody out there on online land, kind of burning away on the internet, because that's the only way we can congregate during this time.
Hey, wait, let me get my mask on.
Oh, okay. Yep, there you go. That's perfect, Todd. That is.
That was a close one, Dan.
I know. I'm sorry. I could have gotten spittle over, the digital platform here.
I don't want to catch a computer virus.
No, we do not. Talk about malware. Oh, jeez. But yeah. Anyway, I'm Dan Crosier. I'm here on COFOH Live Undead. And for those of you who don't know, COFOH is the Colorado Festival of Horror. We're getting ready for our first show. Hopefully, it'll happen in September. So hopefully it's far enough away, but it'll be something that once we get out of this mess with the coronavirus, everybody will want to go to, because they have cabin fever or some awesome shit.
Not a pent-up frustrations.
No, none. It might be a place where you can let go of those pent-up frustrations. We'll have all kinds of activities and sculpting and art making and workshops and stuff too. But my guest today is the legendary Todd Debreceni, one of the most renowned makeup effects guys here in Denver. Todd, how are you doing?
Dan, I'm doing great today. How about yourself?
I'm upright. You can't see below, but I am in my jammy jams.
I'm not wearing pants at all.
Oh, fantastic. You're free balling.
Let me just...
Yeah, just adjust yourself right into the camera. Thanks for
I don't want to frighten people away.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I'm ready for some warm weather.
Yeah, the sun came out. Last night it was snowing here in Denver. Yeah, I mean, that's March for you.
Yeah, we built a fire last night.
Oh, no kidding. Well, that's cozy.
Yeah. It was nice and warm.
Nice. So, Todd, can you give us a little bit of background of who you are? And I know it's a loaded question. Where you come from, and some of your your education, and what inspired you?
Well, I was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and I kind of lived in a lot of places growing up. I lived in Boston. I went to school in New Orleans. I've lived in Pennsylvania. My folks moved to Atlanta just before the start of my sophomore year of high school, and they're still alive, and they've been there ever since. So Atlanta's pretty much my home, but I spent 12 years in Los Angeles, but I've now lived in Denver longer than I've lived anywhere. So I've kind of become a de facto Colorado native.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine living anywhere else. I absolutely love it here.
Nice. Yeah. So what kind of got you going into like makeup and makeup effects?
It kind of happened somewhat haphazardly. I've always enjoyed it since I was a kid. Halloween was always a big part of the family stuff. Made my own costumes. I was a television set one year when I was a kid. Built it out of a cardboard box.
Nice.
But it wasn't until probably about 1999 or 2000, when I started getting I'd been doing CGI visual effects animation since the very early 1990s. Wow. Started out toying around with it, and then we were doing a lot of commercial work and some feature work, a few shots here and there, different films. I've always been a tactile person. Mm-hmm. And I love CGI. I still love CGI. I'm teaching myself ZBrush right now. I still dabble in it. But I got frustrated because working in the computer, you can't touch the stuff that you're working with.
Yeah.
And I like to be able to hold the things in my hand. So I watched some tutorials and I taught myself how to do life casting. There was a marvelous artist here in town named Dave Parvin, passed away a few years ago, who taught me everything I know about life casting. He's a fine art life caster here in town. So I started doing life casting and teaching myself prosthetic makeup effects, sculpting. I started sculpting when I was little. My mother's a sculptor, so it's something that's always been around me. But one of the classes I was teaching at the Art Institute called Special Topics, it was a brand new class, and our department director had said, you know, it can be whatever you want to do as long as it's something that's industry related. And because I was just starting to teach myself how to do prosthetics, I thought, you know, I want to do a class on makeup effects.
Nice.
And, you know, they say the best way to learn how to do something is to teach it to somebody else.
Oh, nice.
It's true. So I developed the curriculum for this special topics class, which filled up immediately as soon as it was offered, and did that for several years and just got better and better with things. And all of the tutorials that I was finding in books, you know, Lee Bagan's three-dimensional, I can't remember the title of it, Lee Bagan's book, and, you know, the Richard Corson makeup book. There's terrific how-to material. Some of the videos I would see on YouTube, or some DVDs that, you know, Mark Alfre's DVDs and Rob Berman's, great information.
Nice.
But almost none of it was explaining the why you do things a certain way. The how is all there. Most of the steps are there. You know, I think sometimes people gloss over things, forgetting that not everybody knows as much as the person doing the video.
Yeah.
But almost never the why you do it was included. And to me, the why is almost more important than the how, because there's a half dozen ways to do everything.
Right.
So why do you do it this way instead of this way?
Right.
Well, it depends on any number of factors. So I thought, you know, well, shit, I'm a writer. I've been writing for years. I'm gonna write a book on this and include all of that information.
Oh, cool.
And that's what happened. I actually got the go ahead to do the book while I was out of the country working on a movie, and came back and started doing my research. And 18 months later, the first edition was released, special makeup effects for stage and screen. It was by my publisher's Focal Press. Focal's gone through 3 different publishers since I've been with them, now owned by Taylor and Francis, which is now an imprint of Routledge.com. I've been through close to a dozen different editors because of all the changes, but we're now in the third edition of the book, and I'm hoping that they'll keep me around and want me to do a 4th.
Excellent. That's cool. Where can people go to find that? I think you mentioned the website earlier.
They can go directly to the Focal Press, to the Routledge website and order it. And if they want, they can use this little discount code FLR40
Nice.
to get a 20% discount if they buy it directly from my publisher, or they can get it on Amazon.com.
Nice. Cool.
Pretty easily. The first edition is virtually impossible to find now, but the second edition and the third edition are easy enough to get a hold of. It's been translated into Mandarin, so the first and second editions are now also available in Mandarin if you're into Chinese.
Well, that's cool.
Which I am. I've been to China twice to work, and absolutely love it. Probably will be a while before I'm back again.
Yeah, true. With all that too, like, what are some of your favorite projects that you've worked on?
Well, I've worked on quite a few things. Not everything I've done is on IMDb, just because it's kind of like Wikipedia. You can put up whatever you want. But there's some pictures that were Colorado specific that I worked on. I did Ink. I did the makeup effects for Ink several years ago. I worked on Decay. I designed all of the effects and makeup for Decay that Joey Wartner Cheney wrote and directed. Excuse me. Apartment 212.
Oh, I just watched that recently.
Halar did with
yeah.
Penelope Mitchell from Australia. That was great fun.
Nice.
A movie called Bodies that was originally called Paramedics, directed by Rodney Wilson. Midian and I did the makeup effects and body props for that. And I did some prosthetic work for Hoax, which I wasn't involved with the film at all, but I fabricated some prosthetics that were used when they tore. You couldn't see it very clearly in the film. It was really dark, but Brian Thompson was wearing this full neck prosthetic that I made that Midian applied and completely ripped out his throat. It was something that I had made inspired by the makeup from The Revenant, which has some just brilliantly gruesome makeup effects. But I was also involved. I worked on Batman and Robin for Joel Schumacher. Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves, Contact, My Favorite Martian, all doing CGI stuff for those pictures. It wasn't doing makeup for them.
Oh, okay, man, you have been around the corner a lot. That's awesome. That's quite the storied career that you have. I remember.
And I hope I'll be around for a while yet.
Well, you're a young man. Yeah. I think you're younger than I am, anyway.
Well, I doubt that very seriously.
I'm basically just hanging in there. I'm just staples and tape. That's pretty much all I am.
Well, I'm emotionally stunted. I'm perpetually 12 years old emotionally, and I still can't believe they let me drive a car.
That's hilarious. Now I remember. I think the last time I ran into you in person was you were giving like a workshop or a talk about puppets with Midian at the Monster Makeup Effects studio.
Oh yeah.
Years ago, my friend Annabelle, she builds giant puppets and walks on stilts, and so we I love puppetry, and I've started getting involved in animatronics a few years back. That I'm hoping I can maybe during this hiatus I'll get back to doing some puppets. One of the things I want to do is because all my paid professional gigs have dried up and gone away. So, I got nothing but personal projects on the plate right now. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to build myself an animatronic baby Audrey for a little shop. So yes,
it's going to go in here, and I've already got all the mechanics, and I'm working on the puppet pieces for that right now. That I'm hoping it'll be able to grow and move, and all be tracked with an RC controller.
Oh my gosh! If you document that in any way, photos, video.
Oh, definitely. I'll be including that in the 4th edition of the book if it comes to that.
Okay.
There's a chapter on animatronics from the 2nd edition, and now in the 3rd edition. So animatronics is becoming a big part of it.
Nice.
There's also a chapter on 3D printing in the 3rd edition.
Which, speaking of which, if anybody's listening, that is what's going off in the background. Yeah, you've got.
It's kind of musical.
Yeah. It definitely has that rhythm. It's almost like white noise. You can go to sleep to it.
Yeah, no, it's I get so accustomed to it that I don't even hear it after a while. But when it's going in circular curved patterns,
Yeah.
it really sounds like an alien song.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I need to record it and use it for some sound effects.
Yeah, you should play. Well, you do your podcast too. Maybe that should be the background if you don't have one already.
Yeah, it's probably the latest one that we just put up is one with Neil Gorton,
Mm.
and Stuart and I did the wraparounds just several days ago, and I was printing something in the background, so you can definitely when we're talking, you can hear it going in the background.
Nice. That's so cool. And if I remember right, didn't you also do like a stage production of Shrek? Like, yeah, was that
I've probably done Shrek over a dozen times. I have an animatronic Pinocchio
what?
mask that I rent out. So Pinocchio can be completely hands free, and his nose will grow. I'm a real boy, and somebody's controlling it either from the booth or off stage.
Nice. Oh, that's cool. Um, yeah, back when I was in art school, yeah, I learned mold making from a gentleman named Gary Staub, and he's one of those paleo artists where he does life size scientific representations of prehistoric animals and stuff. So
Cool.
yeah, so I learned mold making, built and then from there how to build props and doing latex casts and everything like that. From there, I went into doing a performance group called OFM, where we got dressed up in big latex monster outfits, kind of like Guar, except we ended up becoming like a stage choreographed fight performance, and we break out the katanas and the blood works would fly.
Yeah, I'd love to see video of that.
Yeah, I'll send you some video. But that's kind of how I got back into for myself, kind of connecting with filmmakers and makeup effects artists, like yourself, and then reconnecting with Distortions Unlimited because that's where I'd go buy my latex. Because
oh yeah, Ed's awesome.
Oh,
such another really neat guy.
Yeah, we've interviewed him on here before, him and Marcia, and we're talking about bringing them out as sponsors and as guests for COFOH. Hopefully that works out this year.
Well, they've got some really cool new props that are pretty neat. We did a Halloween party together a few years ago that neither one of us knew the other was going to be doing this party, and they brought down a bunch of stuff from Greeley for this party. It was a party in Greenwood Village that I don't know how much money they spent on this party, but it was nuts. It was a Hobbit themed party. I mean, they had ring wraiths on horses for real. They built a Hobbit hole into the side of a hill in the backyard.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
That's insane.
Ed brought a bunch of graveyard stuff, and he had this big troll animatronic that kind of squats and it stands up, and it's
I know the one.
20 feet tall. I was like, oh my God, this is so cool.
Man, I can only imagine how many flatbeds, or maybe it was a full semi truck that brought that stuff down.
I don't know.
That's intense. It sounds like really makeup effects artists are really the new rock stars, because you guys can make all kinds of visualizations manifest in 3D.
Well, there are some of the guys in Hollywood that when they were doing this stuff in the 80s, when these guys were still teenagers, most of them literally were rock stars. If they weren't building monsters for some project, they were rocking out to heavy metal on their own, headbanging for real.
Nice.
Steve Johnson and that crowd were Greg Nicotero and Howard Berger, Rob Freitas, who's a terrific mold maker. I mean, these guys all still play guitar. I mean, Nicotero's even got a band that they play when they're not in production for The Walking Dead in Atlanta.
Oh wow! I knew that guy was busy, but I mean, he's directing, he's doing a little bit of writing, and
I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, so that's
He
just
must not sleep.
no sleep. Yeah, sleep. I mean, God, sleep kind of escapes us all to a point. At least now we get to catch up a little bit. But and like back to The Walking Dead too. You and I were talking before we started up the recorder about Denver, Colorado, as far as like the creative community and some of the incentives there.
Man, Colorado should be as busy as Georgia. There's just no question about it.
Yeah, I totally agree. The talents, all the technical skills are there.
Yeah.
It just seems like it doesn't get the recognition that I think it deserves. Or
no, and at one time, back in the 80s, was pretty much a heyday for film and television production here, with the Father Dowling mysteries and Perry Mason. And when Denver decided to close the Stapleton airport and build DIA, together with a couple of other people, we put a proposal together and went to Wellington Webb, and we talked to a bunch of people about utilizing some of the Stapleton area for a small back lot and retrofitting the United Airline hangars as sound stages, because it's a lot cheaper to retrofit an existing hangar to a working sound stage than to build one from the ground up. Use part of the concourse and the tower as a standing airport set, and move all of the expendables companies, from LSI and Norcosco and all of the suppliers over to Stapleton, so it's one-stop shopping, so you're not sending PAs all over the city trying to find crap.
Yeah.
And they basically told us to go fuck ourselves.
Oh, that's so disheartening.
Really, you could have done all of this and still had all of the residential and commercial property that they've got now,
right,
with barely putting a dent in it.
Right.
But they weren't interested in looking down the road.
Yeah, that's too bad and very disheartening. Incidentally, my day job is property manager for a facility in Old Stapleton, and the property is just that, as you described, what you pitched. It's a creative facility. Access TV is my biggest tenant, and there's a large sound stage, 35 Left Studios with Carl.
Yeah, I've shot there before.
Oh, fantastic!
We did a Doritos zombie commercial there.
Oh, that's wow! When was that?
3 years ago, maybe.
Oh shoot! Then I would have been there. Man, if I knew you were over there, I would have stopped by. Darn it! Yeah, Robert Moratori and Alexander Felipe.
Yeah,
they shot their Hitchcock, part of their Hitchcock documentary over there, and some other stuff too. So I'd run into Robert from time to time on different projects, and so it's always nice to have that creative hub, and then see your friends coming and going, and the work is coming in and stuff like that. But it still seems like that weird, best kept secret type thing.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, so bring your production here.
Yeah, or, even better, start up a nice, big production here, and, if you can get
and there's quite a bit of reality TV being done down at the Comcast facility in I guess it's Centennial now, not Littleton. Colorado Boulevard and Dry Creek, huge facility.
I heard that's being shut down.
I think there are a number of production companies there, but they don't have a whole lot of overhead, so there's they're not going to be bringing a lot of people in to do productions.
Sure.
What we need is episodic television in Colorado, something that's going to be in production 6 days a week, 9 months out of the year for hopefully, 5 to 15 years. That's going to leave behind some serious capital in town. When if you think that up to 10% of a production budget stays in the local economy when a production wraps and goes away,
Mm-hmm.
episodic television is the way to go. It's great having movies because it's prestigious and you've got stars and stuff coming in. But if you've got if somebody's coming to shoot a movie here, Hateful Eight being an exception where they did pretty much the entire film in Telluride, they're going to come shoot maybe 5%, 10%, maybe 5 pages of the script in Colorado, and then they're going to go on location and go do something somewhere else. But that's a very small amount of money. If 10% of 5% stays behind, you're not really looking at a huge return from having had a movie come spend 2 weeks in Colorado. Five pages is not that much of a script, but you've got a lot of coverage that gets done in a film. They spend more time dealing with different shots, close-ups and mediums and over the shoulders and all that stuff. Whereas television, bam, 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 they'll shoot 10 pages in a day.
Yeah, they'll make great use of those resources in a short amount of time.
Yeah, the movie will be here, do 5 pages, and it'll take them 2 weeks.
Right. And like for Colorado, there's pretty much like every major terrain that you would need, whether it's cityscape, plains.
From an advertising standpoint, the car companies will always be here, whether there are incentives in place or not, because the Rocky Mountains aren't going anywhere.
Right.
They want to have those beautiful windy mountain road shots that aren't going to be easy to duplicate anywhere but here.
Right. Yeah, most of unless you go to New Zealand. I mean, Lord of the Rings. So kind of changing gears here a little bit. Todd, what are your main influences? What did you really endearing?
Quite a few. Most of my influence falls back to graphic design and illustration. My original career path was medicine, which we don't need to get into. But when I decided that medicine wasn't gonna do it, because my mother's a sculptor and a painter. I've been doing that kind of artwork since I was a kid. So I decided to fall back on that. I had a painting professor in college who was a marvelous abstract watercolorist named Richard Clark, and he had a hobby. His hobby was aptitude tests.
Okay.
And when I decided, after I got accepted to Emory Medical School, and just when I decided, I can't do this, Richard said, "Here, let me set you up with an aptitude test, and let's see where your heart and head really are." And everything came back, art related, just off the charts.
Nice.
So I really dove into that. So communication design and illustration was where I went, and wound up becoming an art director and a production designer for a while. But influences were Saul Bass. In fact, if you look at the logo for my company, Back Porch Effects, Bappo Effects, is very Saul Bass influenced.
Okay.
But Sid Mead, Vaughn Baudet, Roger Dean, who designed all of the Yes album covers back in the day, Milton Glaser, Patrick Nagel, R. Crumb, David Hockney, Peter Max, Jack Davis, you know, the guys from Mad Magazine,
Yeah.
Mort Drucker, Bernie Fuchs and Mark English and Brad Holland were three illustrators that were big influences to me. Tim and Greg Hildebrandt.
I love those guys. Yeah, they
Yeah, amazing stuff.
their Marvel, you know, card series, and then of course, you know, Robert Crumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. These guys are you know, kind of entrenched in that you know, cultural art grade. You know, especially Robert Crumb with the underground comics that he used to do and stuff.
Yeah, and I used to emulate his style in high school, drawing things.
And that is the best style to emulate, especially during adolescence. I mean, just ornery stuff.
Yeah, no, it's out there.
Yeah.
Another one's Brian Froud, who, you know, Dark Crystal.
Yes. Oh man, were you able to catch the new Dark Crystal on?
Yes, it's amazing,
It's
absolutely amazing.
spectacular what they were able to do. Yeah, my girlfriend and I think we watched that at least twice before we could, you know, really get a grasp of everything.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see where it's going.
I hope they get a new season for that.
I can't. I'd be stunned if they don't.
Yeah, I know it was a tremendously expensive endeavor, but I think no matter what the cost, it was worthwhile.
Sure, but I think it's all there on the screen. It's just spectacular. In fact, may even be better than the original, which may be sacrilege.
Yeah, I think I would say I love them equally, but for completely different reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds like you kind of draw on this wellspring of inspiration and talent.
Yeah. No. Even Looney Tunes. You know, yeah. Chuck Jones and Tex Avery and Friz Freleng. Those guys. You know, the Termite Terrace bunch was like, I ate that stuff up as a kid.
So with your life kind of growing up around art and everything, I'm intrigued as to where the idea of, or the germ of you know, going into medicine came
from. You know, I think it came about because, you know, my parents didn't think I was going to live to be 4.
Oh my! Okay.
I was an adventurous kid. You know, always. You know, I tried to fly once. That kind of thing. So, you know, in and out of ERs as a kid, you know, I figured if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah, oh my.
So I started working as an OR technician. Started out as a transport aide, you know, helping take patients to and from surgery, and gradually started getting to observe in the OR, and doctors love to show you what they're doing. Yeah. So I learned all of the instrument packs and how to put them together, and which all the instruments were for. And gradually they let me start scrubbing in and holding retractors. And by the time I was 17, I was a full-fledged OR technician. I was freaking Doogie Howser. And you know, I've done things that you'd never be able to get away with.
I want to see you
in today's world, but
yeah.
By the time I was 19, I had more hands-on surgical experience than most first-year surgical residents.
Wow! Do you have any photos of this? I would love to see you in scrubs, because
yep.
You know, that Doogie Howser reference. I want to see a cute, adorable Todd Debreceni, you know, in scrubs.
Oh, I've got them. I'll send you some.
Okay, that'd be great. Man, you know, growing up too, like you name, you know, your creative and you know, art inspirations, but what kind of like films or TV shows did you kind of grab?
Stuff that I like.
Yeah.
Well, you know, my wife and I are both Star Trek junkies.
Oh, nice. Oh, I can see also why you get along so well with Ed, because he's that way too.
Yeah, I mean, I like Star Wars, Episode 4.
Yeah.
But I'm, if I had to choose Star Wars over Star Trek, I think I would probably go Star Trek,
Okay.
though I am a huge fan of The Mandalorian.
Oh, okay, cool.
Boba Fett's my favorite Star Wars character, and the
Nice.
new Disney series, The Mandalorian, is
Yeah.
freaking off the chart. I love it.
Yeah. Nice. Is it kind of that Clint Eastwood type character, Mando? I think that's all.
Yeah, have you not seen it?
I've seen it. I've seen it
Okay.
twice, and I think they just refer to him as Mando the whole thing through, right?
Yeah, it's definitely got a Western feel to it.
Yeah.
Cowboys in the Wild West.
Yeah. And
Um,
and the neat,
Code of Honor. I like that.
yeah, it's got that lone wolf and cub, feel to it with Baby Yoda. So
Yeah.
it's fun to see him like kind of traversing that dark.
Well, I hope they explore the baby Yoda thing a bit more to find out what this species is.
Right. Yeah. With Lucas, I always heard that with Yoda, he always wanted to make the species unnamed, so it was always referred to as Yoda, hence Baby Yoda. So yeah, I love that definition, or that investigation into where Yoda and this baby come from. But yeah, like my dad was always very into Star Trek. I always liked both. I really had no preference, though. Binge watching all the series of Star Trek. I did that one summer. Oh
Yeah,
my!
I haven't. We subscribe to too many services now, so the CBS
Yeah,
is sorry. I'd love to see Picard, but
yeah, yeah,
I've reached my subscription limit.
yeah. And there's only so many hours of the day, and you got stuff to do. You've got your Audrey to build.
Say what?
You've got your creature from Little Shop of Horrors to build too.
Oh yeah. I've got enough on my personal plate now to do. I'm learning ZBrush, and I'm working on and actually I'm working on a Todd mask. I did a clay pour and a life cast of my face, and I'm cleaning it up
Nice.
and sculpted the eyes open. So I'm making a Todd mask.
Oh, that's fun.
Don't ask me why, but I am.
Yeah, it seems like something you would like a kind of a page out of like Hyperflush or something, right?
Yeah, the Abby Chase Danger Girl that I just sculpted in ZBrush as my big learning project that helped turn on a lot of light bulbs.
Cool.
I was using Landon's method where I've got a front view and a side view that I can load up into ZBrush as background reference, so that I can push and pull the clay around to get the shapes right. And that's pretty much what Landon does, though, where he's able to find good straight on and profiles of some of the characters that he's doing. So he's got to be doing some extrapolation from 3/4 turns to get them. But that's basically been my approach to doing likenesses so far.
Yeah,
I may try doing. Anybody want to send me some good profile and straight on pictures, I'll be happy to use them to help improve my ZBrush chops.
nice.
Dan, send me pictures of you. I'll see if I can get you
that's
going.
dangerous. Underneath this, I think I got a crater. Actually, that might be entertaining to sculpt.
What's the character from Men in Black 3 who's got wearing the toque, and he takes it off and he's got just this really weird shaped head?
Yeah, I vaguely remember that because that
was on just the other night.
Yeah, that was with Josh Brolin.
Yeah, it's a pretty spot on Tommy Lee Jones impression.
Right. Yeah, that was pretty sharp. Yeah. Yeah, the character designs in that series of films are just fantastic. I can't
Yeah,
really say.
the first three were really really good.
Yeah, I can't say the same. The newest one. I know I've seen it. I don't remember what happened. But yeah, the character just. Oh, that's right. Yeah, at least was it the first two that Rick Baker?
Yeah, actually, Rick has a cameo in Men in Black 3.
Oh, okay.
He's in that one too. I think he's in 2 and 3. But yeah, he was involved. He did the makeup effects for all 3 of those.
Nice. Did he also design the characters in the third one? It seems very Rick Baker centric. I can't remember.
I don't know if he did anything after the third one.
Okay. Okay. So the 3 then. Cool.
He may have been based on some of his designs.
Yeah, one of my favorite horror movies, and I usually go back to horror comedies, except for a handful. Oh God, I can't talk anymore. But is of course the work that he did on American Werewolf in London.
Which is, it's funny you should. I think the makeup effects and the practical effects in American Werewolf in London are first rate. I mean, definitely Oscar worthy because he won the Academy Award for that.
Yeah.
But people may send me hate mail for this, but the movie itself, I think, sucks.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's not a good movie. That the effects are fantastic, but there's absolutely zero chemistry between David Naughton and Jenny Agutter. Zero.
Okay. Yeah. I would.
The dialogue's cheap. Yeah. I mean, it's if you want to go, yeah, it's a cheesy horror movie, then yeah. It's a cheesy horror movie. But the effects are amazing.
Yeah.
But the movie itself, I think, is not that great.
Oh, I see. I enjoy it because.
But I like a lot of not great horror movies. Do you ever see Them?
Yeah, I've seen.
Or Manster.
No, I haven't seen Manster. It's been a long time.
You need to see Manster. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, Attack of the 50-Foot Woman.
Yeah.
Some of these ones that from the 50s are. When you're an 8-year-old kid watching these, you go like, oh, that is so cool.
Right. Yeah.
But you look at it now and go, what was I thinking?
Yeah. There's a lot of films that just don't age well. I remember when I was a kid, and I've given this story before. There's that film Ghoulies, and as like an 8-year-old, scared the hell out of me in the early 80s. It was these little creatures that would come, popping out of your toilet or something, and they looked pretty gnarly and gross. So in my 20s, I found at Best Buy, the whole, like a bunch of the Ghoulies movies on one DVD set, and I'm like, oh boy, I remember this scared me as a kid. So I haven't seen it since, and put that on. I barely could get through the first 10 minutes. The creatures pop up, and it's a single-handed puppet, and you can see the impression of the puppeteer's fist coming through the thin latex. And I'm just like, what the fuck was wrong with me at that age? And then at the end of the movie, like I suffered all the way through. I had to let it play.
Sure.
And there's some wizard fight scene. And, back in the 80s, you had that hand-drawn lightning. That was just so.
Oh yeah, rotoscope stuff.
Yeah, it was so cool. Well, they managed to make this very, very uncool, and I'm pretty sure I saw like the animator's hand and maybe the pencil stuck on a couple frames. I don't know.
A hand flashing in every now and then. Yeah, stop motion.
At least you could have, like the Fight Club thing, and like spliced in somebody's schlong or something. But it was just god awful.
Well, on the flip side of the coin, though, is when the director's cut of The Exorcist came out, which is my favorite horror movie of all time. When the director's cut came out, I I watched it at home alone one night, and after, you know, Reagan's coming down the stairs upside down and backwards, I turned every light in the house on.
That's awesome. Oh, that's good. I remember, you know, as a little kid, like, you know, really, really young, my grandma had me over at her house. Parents just came home. They're going to pick me up. She had the TV on, and Exorcist was playing. So I was alone in this room watching The Exorcist. And I don't know, she was talking to my parents or something. And I think when they came to get me, I had wet the carpet. I don't know what I was watching, but I had completely just pissed myself. And I'm sure they noticed. They must have. You know, I was too young. I remember that part. I don't remember anything else that came after that. But that's still a horror and dramatic piece that still holds up really well for me.
I love the ones that are more psychological and thriller based than the slash. I'm not a fan of slasher, gratuitous blood and guts and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I just don't care for it. The ones that I really dig are, I mean, next to The Exorcist, The Conjuring may be maybe the scariest movie I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
But there's almost no violence or blood at all until very close to the end of it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all in your head. But The Fly, the Jeff Goldblum, Gina Davis version.
Oh, I love
John Carpenter's The Thing, not the original, but Carpenter's The Thing.
And I think that's
Lost Boys.
Yeah.
The Omen. Village of the Damned. Did you ever see that one?
That one I don't think. I saw the Christopher Reeve version, but I don't think I've seen the original.
The original is creepy as fuck.
Yeah. I gotta see that. The well, in like going back to like John Carpenter's The Thing and Cronenberg's The Fly, that does make an argument that you know, remakes can be a masterful art form. And,
absolutely.
And even surpass the original. And granted, you're going to have tons of remakes and reinterpretations that, you know, don't touch the original. But every now and then, I think you get that gem. It like they just recently remade Suspiria, and I like the original a lot. And
I haven't seen the original.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen either of them.
Yeah, like Dario Argento is definitely an acquired taste, but like the lighting scheme and the moods, setting for the original is absolutely outstanding. It kind of harkens back to that 1970s, Italian, horror filmmaking.
Well, actually, there were some talk about some from the 70s. A couple just popped into my head. I think Sam Peckinpah's Straw Dogs, the original one.
Yeah.
With Dustin Hoffman.
Yep. Yeah, that was really good. I did see the remake. That's one that can be, just forgotten about. But the original was fantastic. Yeah, and really, like anything Peckinpah, like The Wild Bunch. There was another one with Warren Oates.
There was another one called See No Evil.
Okay.
Did you see that one?
No, I don't think so.
It was about a homicidal maniac and a blind girl.
Oh, I definitely need to check that one out.
And all you see, you never get to see who the killer is. I haven't seen it for ages, but you see he's wearing these rubber welly boots. Another movie that takes place in the UK. And all you see is these boots walking. You never get to see this guy's face.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I do like the films that do keep you in that sense of suspense. You don't know what that what's really out there. Some of the horror movies that also do that pretty well. Halloween, the first one, with Michael Myers. I mean, he's always referred to as like that shape. You never get a sense of personality or what the motive is. You've got the mask, the William Shatner mask, but it's just that unstoppable force that's coming after you, or even
Right.
Alien, where you don't really see.
Another one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's masterful. You don't really see the creature until like really the end, but you don't need to.
Yeah.
It's
It's the suspense.
right. It's just this force of nature that's out to get you. It's nature versus man.
The
Um,
first horror movie that I saw in a theater was kind of inadvertent. My grandmother, we went and saw Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte at a
oh,
drive-in,
not oh, geez.
and we're going, we,
Yeah.
Bruce Dern gets his head chopped off and hand cleaved off. What a cast, though! Oh my God,
Nice.
that he was Bruce Dern, Victor Buono, Olivia de Havilland.
Wow.
Insane.
That's another one I need to check out then. Uh, yeah, I think my favorite horror movie of all time, and you probably won't appreciate this too much, but is the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Which I've never seen.
Oh, it is terrifying. I've seen that a lot, and it freaks me out every time. It's very violent, but there's no gore. Back in those, like Tobe Hooper, the director, he came from a documentary background, so he was.
I will have to take a look. I will have to.
Yeah,
My wife won't watch horror movies, so and
don't watch that.
I don't want to go to a theater watch a movie by myself. So, but
Yeah.
I will have to break down and finally watch that, because I know it is on everybody's top 50 lists.
Yeah, that's one of my top 5 movies of all time. It's just because it puts me in that sense of dread every time I watch it. It is unflinching. It is gut wrenching. Oddly enough,
And it's based on actual events.
yeah. I think it takes from a number of different areas. The egg stories. There's a number of other related events that did occur in Texas. And
that's one of the things that makes the Silence of the Lambs really,
yeah.
is because there are people like that walking among us.
Right. Yeah. Whether it's the Buffalo Bill or the Dr. Hannibal.
Yeah.
I think I would not want to walk into either one, especially if Buffalo Bill is playing Goodbye Horses or something like that, and doing his little dance routine. No, thank you.
Yeah, and you never know when if that's going to happen, because it's so unpredictable.
Well, and those are the monsters that I fear the most, the ones that do exist in real life.
Yeah.
That's terrifying. It's the monsters that are the werewolves and the vampires that I love, because that just lends itself to
sure, it's escapism fear.
Right, exactly.
Based on folklore.
Right.
But the really terrifying stuff is knowing that there's another Buffalo Bill out there somewhere.
Right. Or even some of the stuff that's happening in war-torn countries. I have a hard time watching war movies based off of that, because it's
you talk about horror. I do enjoy war movies, and they are horrific. They are horrifying. Saving Private Ryan makes my hand sweat and my pulse race.
Yeah, just watching that scene where not just the opening scene on the beach of Normandy, but where that one soldier is getting that knife slowly driven into his chest.
Oh yeah, even when they know the Germans are coming, and you can see the ground, you hear the tanks coming, and you can see the ground vibrating, and there's this sense of impending doom,
right?
That you can't take, and it's very anxiety laden.
Yeah,
but I still think it's an important film.
It is. It very much is. I totally agree. I think um, that was the last Spielberg war movie and I think he's done a couple others since then that is near and dear. But it's
Hmm.
also one of those films
Have
that
you seen 1917 yet?
no, the technical stuff that occurred in there. That's why I really want to see that movie.
Yeah, I just bought it day before yesterday and haven't had a chance to watch it yet. But I'm really looking forward to it for a number of reasons.
Yeah, on the technical application, they made it so it seemed like it was the whole movie is one continuous shot.
Yeah.
I've seen some of the conversations and behind the scenes stuff on like YouTube. It is tremendous. What is that? Sam Mendes, I think, is the director.
Yeah, Sam did that one.
Yeah. So that is tremendous. I'd love to see something.
I
See.
know a bunch of the guys that built a lot of the prop bodies
Oh, cool.
for it. So they've posted a lot of that stuff on Instagram, which is pretty crazy. And it's incredibly lifelike, and it's just fleeting. It's background stuff that
Yeah.
the level of detail for stuff that's you may not even see
Right.
is impressive, to say the least.
Wow, that's cool. Hey, Todd, we're
Yeah.
starting to wind down a little bit, but um, for kids out there, they're wanting to do special effects and makeup effects, and maybe they want to do CGI. Is I know
Learn both.
what's that? Learn both.
Learn both.
Nice.
Definitely learn both. I think I don't think practical effects are going anywhere.
Yeah.
CGI is just going to keep getting better, and it's already pretty damn good. I think the modeling is there. I think now it's just a matter of matching the animation
Mhm.
to everything else. But when CGI and practical effects can work hand in hand,
Yes. Yes.
um, that's when you got the best of both worlds. Because on the makeup side, makeup is only additive; it can't be subtractive.
Mhm.
One of the cool shots from The Mummy, when Arnold Vosloo's character as Imhotep is starting to regenerate. They had 3D tracking marks on his face
Mm.
to match the live action portions so that you could see inside his face as the scarab runs up through his neck and up into his mouth and he
Yeah.
chomps down on it. That's beautiful because that's practical makeup and CGI
Nice.
working perfectly in tandem. And when a studio can do both the practical effects and the CGI and not have one farmed out to one shop and the other farmed out to other shops, when you can all do them together, like Todd Masters has CGI capabilities in-house as well as all the practical stuff.
Yeah.
Same with I think KNB is working in that direction, but ADI and spectral motion all are capable of doing both.
Nice.
So they both speak both languages fluently, and that's really what I think the future is gonna be.
Yeah, I agree. If you can, kind of marry the two disciplines together in
Yeah,
support of the story, I think that is absolutely wonderful. And
I think the more hats you can learn to wear well, the more valuable you're going to be to somebody.
along with the different volumes of your book, and where is a good place to learn this? I know in Denver, the Art Institute is closed down.
Art Institute's gone.
We got Rocky Mountain College of Art Design.
Yeah, but they're doing animation. They're not really doing any practical stuff. Theater programs barely scratch the surface of prosthetic makeup.
Okay.
So if you want to learn how to do it, and most people my age or close to my age are all pretty much self-taught, couldn't go to school to do this. Online, I mean, Neil Gorton offers some wonderful online training. there are some good tutorials. Stuart and I have our podcast, and we just got our website live, and we're going to be starting to put tutorial videos together, and we're working on an online curriculum of our own. But Neil Gorton has online. The Stan Winston School has some really good online training.
Nice.
If you need boots on the ground, brick and mortar school, Vancouver Film School, Cinema Makeup School. There's Tom Savini's school back east in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Mud Makeup Designery has campuses in both Los Angeles and New York. I think there are a couple of places starting to pop up in and around Atlanta. I don't have any names off the top of my head. But if anybody wants to email me, I'd be more than happy to put together a list for anyone that's interested in pursuing this. The Dick Smith advanced makeup, the Dick Smith course is first rate. Dick's no longer with us, but Andrew Clement is running it now, and getting help from some industry biggies. That's always an option too.
Nice. Well,
And there are a number of books and DVDs available. So, and I've got a long list of stuff in the back of my book where books and magazines. Prosthetics Magazine, which is published in the UK, is a great resource.
nice.
I think Makeup Artist Magazine is going away, but as long as they're still around, that's worth looking into. And definitely, if you don't have a copy of my book, get one.
Yep. God damn right. Yeah, if you can, send us some links so we could post them. For your book and anything else.
For sure.
That you want to plug. Obviously, the podcast when your website gets up and going, you have tutorials on that too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Battles with Bits of Rubber. We just uploaded our 51st episode.
Nice.
So it's over 100 hours of listening pleasure.
Excellent. With your soothing voice, how can anybody not?
Oh, and then Stuart's magical English accent.
Oh, nice. That's always good. Well, cool. Todd, it was great having you on the show.
Oh, thanks, Dan. It was my pleasure.
Yeah, it was. You've always been somebody that I've wanted to chat with and talk to you in a format like this, and hopefully this was fun for everybody else that was watching, and as well as something to get through this tough time.
Yeah, and you and I have to get together once we're finished with house arrest.
Yes, most definitely. I am all for that.
Cool.
So anytime you want me to come over and help in your studio, I'm game.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Todd, again, and have a great evening. I guess the sun will go down.
Sun's still out now. It's thank goodness it's springtime.
Right, because last night it was snowing and kind of dismal.
Yeah, I'm ready for hanging out in the backyard weather.
Me too. Yeah. Anyway, I'm Dan Crosier with Todd Debreceni. This is COFOH Live and Undead. And, please visit us at cofohhorror.com. You'll probably be seeing this on Facebook and on YouTube. And Todd, I'll send you a link too when they're up and about. And
great.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, Dan. Thanks a bunch.
All right. We'll see you later.
Bye.
All right. And come on, stop recording.